Welcome everybody. I apologize for the late start. OBS picked a hell of a time for a really slow update. Weird stuff. But anyway, yeah, this is White Knight. It came out not too long ago. I want to say maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. It's noir in its presentation, but it's kind of a classic horror. It's kind of a classic horror setup in the sense that you're a stranger who crashes in front of a spooky old mansion set in like the 1930s, kind of the Depression era. And the main item of interest, kind of like Neon Z, the main item of interest is how it's presented. It's an extreme contrast of mostly white and black, with no gradients in between. And it creates very stark impressions of light and darkness, which are also your primary mechanics. As you venture into darkness, you can become in danger of dying, and you need to light up the mansion in order to proceed. And it's a very precarious thing. Like in Amnesia Rebirth, you use matches to light stuff as you go, and they're always in danger of blowing out prematurely. So let's get to it, and I'll show you why this one stands out.
Some nights are just pitch black, without stars, and without sleep. Dirty nights clinging to you like tar. Like this one night, back in 1938. Boston. The Great Depression tsunami was just sweeping over what was left of America. Misery, hunger, despair. Times are hard, they said. Times were worse than hard. And the bar was about to close. As far as I was concerned, this was just another intoxicated day drawing to an end. If only I knew.
You see what I'm talking about with the visuals. There's no shades of gray used. It's all strictly white, black. When necessary, they use dithering to sort of imply states in between, but it's a very stark presentation. Should have written up a more monologue for that. Oh well. Kind of an interesting little title sequence here. I'm actually controlling the car here. To swerve back and forth. I have been drinking. Yeah, it's not strictly monochrome. It's more like, I think occasionally they get away with shades of gray. And when you light a match, you do actually see orange. And I think when you, on the rare occasions when you actually see blood, that is outlined in red. That's alright. Had a few drinks, but I'm good to drive. I don't think it's actually possible to crash in this. It slows you down a little bit, but yeah, if you just nudge into the guardrail, you just kind of keep going. 0 out of 10 vehicle physics. of course, strange figure in the road makes us veer off course and have an accident. Very definitely a normal person, not a ghost at all.
The shock was still echoing in my bones, as the image of that girl coming out of nowhere surged back in my mind. Did I hit her? Was she dead? I couldn't remember. Thoughts were spinning in my head. I hope I didn't run her over. I hope she's still alive. Then, the pain. The terrible pain on my side. And this question. Where am I?
Oh, man. I was doing fine up until the ghost girl on the highway. Time for a tutorial. Alright. So it doesn't seem like we hit a person, but we did T-bone a tree. We're not exactly doing too good. So yeah, we're dealing with kind of classic Resident Evil style camera angles, but the controls are a little more like... Well, I hate to call them Devil May Cry controls, but that is the first point of comparison, where if you just push left, you start going left, push down, and so on. It's relative to the camera angle, of course. But since this isn't really an action game, you don't have to actually fight anything. It's not all that big a problem. There are rare sections where you'll need to move quickly or carefully, and that lack of precision can be an issue. But for the most part, it's mostly about the mood of an area. The camera angles are chosen deliberately, the lighting is specifically to draw your attention to things, and it's very rare... It's very rare that you need to move... that the combination of angle and camera... The combination of camera angle and controls screws you over in any way. It's a very slow-paced game, so you're kind of encouraged to be careful when you start exploring darker areas. So anyway, who was that girl that crossed the road? I couldn't avoid her, but I never found her body. I couldn't get her desperate stare out of my mind. But I was wounded, and I need help. Alright, so of course we crash in front of the spooky mansion. Let's see who's home. Vesper Manor. Didn't ring a bell. My head was empty and painful. Thankfully, we managed to get the gate open.
I was trying to collect my thoughts, but the intense pain was scattering them like a bunch of dead birds. My fear of being wounded changed into an obsession. Was I about to die?
So yeah, the setup, like I said, apes the more older style horror movies and such. Stuff like The Uninvited, House on Haunted Hill, like the original classics going back to like the 50s and 60s. And it actually reminds me a little bit of the video game called The Uninvited, which is not related to the film, but has a similar premise to this, where you're driving along on a highway, something darts out in front of you, and when you come to, you're crashed in front of this spooky mansion. and your brother or sister has gone missing. It actually changed depending on the version. The PC version had you playing the sister, and your brother had escaped to somewhere in the mansion, whereas the version that got ported to the NES, along with the other MacVenture ones like Deja Vu and Shadowgate, in that one you play the brother looking for your sister. But yeah, basically just getting the impression that this place has been abandoned for a long time. No name given on the grave. Whoever this family is, they've been here for a while. So something in the dark caught its attention. If I recall right, that'd be a key. We need to get it open. Statue had been moved recently. Do I need a puzzly thingy to open this? Or to knock it over? Hostile stare. Here we go. So yeah, usually you'll get a indicator when you can interact with something. Despite being badly wounded, our man has the strength in him to shoulder check shove the statue out of the way.
I had the feeling I was about to desecrate a sanctuary, to open the door to a world I didn't belong to. But whoever lived in there, they would understand. I needed help. Anyone would understand that.
Easy does it, man. I know you're drunk and bleeding out, probably some broken ribs and such, but you gotta hold it together. You're gonna be in a whole lot worse trouble very soon. Yep, just checking out the thing over here real quick. There's thankfully not a lot that's optional that you need to progress. Usually, the only hidden things are like extra news articles and such, a little bit more context. But like with Neon C, it's kind of a one-and-done thing, where once you've finished the plot, that's just about all there is. And there's something to be said for games about that, where you don't really have to worry about plot branches or 100% content. You're basically just there for a singular experience. And honestly, a good enough game can make me want to play through it again, even if I know the narrative beats. Like, yeah, man, you ought to drink that. You're going to need the liquid courage for this. But yeah, something like... Oh, document, here we go. To William Vesper. Under normal circumstances, I would never try to contact you. I am an honest woman. I have supported my husband since the blessed day of our wedding, from which 2 beautiful children were born. I have given them the best education I could, but today I cannot afford to raise them properly anymore. We are ruined. My husband's employer went bankrupt. He's traveling from town to town, trying to find a job, while I have to beg for food every single day. My 4-year-old son has a bad cough, which is getting worse, and I fear for his life. Nowadays, we can see children die in the streets. Is this still America? I beg of you, who are rich, only a few dollars would be enough. We could work for you. We live in the shack under the Best Oil sign, at the entrance of the slum, by the Graham slaughterhouses. Don't hesitate to come. Martha Kenton. Now, you would think so, considering he just came from a bar. A little alcohol would heal him right up. But you don't actually have a health meter in this game. Basically, once the actual game begins, once the normal mechanics take place, standing in the light is enough to heal you.
Getting somewhere safe. That's all that mattered. As the doors opened, the mansion seemed to react to my presence. There was a smell. like a cornered animal. The smell of fear. And yet, I entered the place because I had no choice. I was praying to find a phone or some help. I didn't even bother wondering what happened to prayers when they reached the wrong door.
Yeah, I think fun guy is over. Now we're getting the, dude that's apparently cosplaying a detective. Although, you know, it's 1938. Dudes just dressed like that back then. Hey, Kirby! Hey, there's a phone. It'll very definitely be working in this not at all abandoned, not at all haunted house.
Hello? Hello? I need an ambulance. Can you hear me? I need help.
What had happened? This cold, the darkness around me. I was usually not afraid of the dark. But there, on that day, I remembered I had a matchbox somewhere in my jacket. The urge to light a match was growing with every new chill running down my spine.
Alright, let's light up. Alright. Now, as you might imagine, the match only lasts for a short amount of time, and we need to find more permanent light sources in order to light them. Alright, we can only carry so many. So we're encouraged to find somewhat more permanent light sources where we can. I'm trying to remember. Hey, here we go. Nice! Alright, you can put the match away, mate. I forget, do I... There's some way to manually extinguish them, and sometimes you need to. There we go. Small boat. Memory from an expedition. So yeah, a big thing will be finding ways to light up every room. Usually by bringing a match to a candle or a lamp, or finding an electric source if it's still working. I'll have to add that at some point. But anyway, you can hear the music start to intensify when you stand in darkness. Your vision starts to shake and things start getting more ominous. And that's a cue that you're starting to succumb. That's when you got to get back into the light. So yeah, the main challenge of this is going to be navigating these darkened rooms with the limited supply of matches you have. And finding what you need to progress. Finding ways to light them permanently if you can. Alright, no way to open that. Let's see what's in here. Hello? Anybody home? Margaret's Diary, Excerpt 11, August 21st, 21st? Okay, I'm calling localization jank on that one. Suffocating in its useless illuminations and frills, the mansion doesn't have the greatness befitting a fortune like the Vespers. It is the work of a degenerate romantic. It's like a stain in this century. I ordered the flower beds on the east side of the garden to be removed. They made moving around complicated, and in summer their scent was unbearable. I didn't talk about it to Henry, and he was quite upset. For the first time, I think I saw something like rage in his eyes. For a few seconds, he did look like a man, and then he shut himself back in his melancholy and played the piano all afternoon. His jazz again. This stupid music, which reeks of debauchery and misery. The 21 Firsteth. Yeah, there you go. Well, you know, this was 19... Well, that was from 1911, so... We'll say that they didn't quite have time figured out back then. That's the excuse. Box full of old science books. Seeing a woman with a church candle. I was wondering where God was. Alright, there should be something I can light over here. August 28th, 1911. William is 7 today. He's with Henry, running after the servants in the garden, dressed up like monsters from space. Games. Always games. The mansion is all upside down, and their yells gave me an awful headache. I'm now cloistered in this office, unable to even pray. Henry's fantasies keep William away from his great destiny. I have to bring him back to me, and this will be my only chance to make a man out of him, to make him embrace the Venter Cross legacy, to show him the way. Henry is a dreamer, and he has no ambition whatsoever. He can't teach him anything. Behind every great man, there's a great woman. Nonsense. Women should be on the front line. This is where the opposite brought us. I have no illusion about how little power the world is leaving in the hands of women. But William is young. He is the future. I will act through him, and my night finally fall upon this house. May William stop running after deceiving lights to find the place he deserves in this world. Ominous. Alright. Okay, nameless protagonist, dude, I'm gonna need you to stop stumbling around at some point. Ah, pictures. William, 6 years old, daydreaming already. Alright, that's not terribly useful. Yep. Comes darkness, October 29th, 1938. The time came when we stopped counting. We stopped counting how many companies closed in the past 9 years, how many unemployed and families ended up in the streets, how forced to live in slums around our cities. We stopped counting all the commodities wasted because nobody could buy them, thrown to the sea or burnt. We stopped counting how many of our business partners fell with us. It was 9 years ago, on October 29th, 1929. Born from the sick and speculative belly of America, the crash would throw the world into the storm and darkness. We are still here, but we lost faith. And we stopped counting, because these were just figures, because today they make us feel nauseous. Dawn seemed far at that time, and today some think they can see the sunrise. They seem to forget night and darkness are always out there, somewhere. Right. Now, these chairs actually are your save point, but to use them, we need a fixed source of light to shine on them, so there should be one close by. Where are you at? A soothing aura was surrounding this lunar goddess statue. Matches, don't mind if I do. Ah, here we go. Nice. Here we go. Now, with a proper light on the chair, we can rest up, and that should finally heal us. There we go.
Are you there?
You to run, huh? Yeah, this is a game that doesn't really encourage or even require the use of the mouse at all. Yep.
Help me.
So yeah, Ghost Lady that kind of
Who was
caused
it?
this in the first place
Or
is
What was it?
going to be an important
In
figure
my
as we
world, women
proceed.
didn't glow like the moon. And they didn't walk through doors either. I had to be more badly wounded than I thought.
Actually, that's a good question. I think... Oh, wait. No. I filled up on matches over there, and the one in my hand didn't count against the total. Anyway, let's follow that nice young lady and apologize to her formally for hitting her with the car. Aw, damn it. Miss Ghost Lady, would you mind unlocking the door? Alright. Ooh. This is a problem. Yeah, the light sources you turn on are not always reliable. There will occasionally be some ghostly mischief that results in them turning off or losing power. Alright, that door's locked. Let's see what's behind these doors. Mother's shadows will never go away. I understood it now. Calling them ghosts would still be too noble. It is a filth that strives in the dark, like flies on manure. I think they meant thrives. As long as I am alive, they will never go away. Ooh, chocolate with salty crackers. That does sound kind of good. You know what? There's a certain balance between a salty and a sweet snack that kind of makes them go together. Like, if I have chocolate, I do kind of want to follow it up with a pretzel or something. Oop. Margaret Vesper, née Venter Cross, a woman as noble as cold. One of the paintings had the name Margaret Venter, the same as the grave outside. That woman's stare was as noble as a frozen lake, and looked just as cold. Margaret and Henry Vesper, two strangers, pretending to be married. Uh-oh. Oh boy. So yeah. Time to go. Buddy, you gotta move. You gotta move right now. Okay, yeah. So that will be our primary antagonist for the bulk of the game. The various shadows in the dark that all basically look the same. It's implied, although I don't know if they ever actually stated, that that's Margaret Vesper herself. And she's the most likely one, given what we've been reading. Now, what's interesting is there are occasional implications that there's some kind of occult goings on in the house, or other supernatural things, but it's not something they ever come and state outright. Like, it's implied that William is also kind of losing it, and it's never entirely clear how much of what you're dealing with is real. Like, the house presumably is real, the people in it were real, but it's not clear if you are seeing the phantoms that the characters writing about saw, if you're seeing phantoms that are actually there, or if you're somehow influenced by the writings of people that were losing it themselves. Awesome. Alright, that's locked. We'll need to find a key. Each other's style or tone. Yeah, I think part of that is they're being written by different people across different times, but it does feel like a script that could use another editing pass that it didn't get. Like, we're seeing some typos here and there and some kind of odd word choices, even with me stumbling over them. Anyway, William's Diary, Excerpt 10, 1929. I watch them from behind the vapors of my whiskey. Drunk men and women who bark at each other like animals. They grab and bite each other in a preposterous parade that seems to arouse them. I am outraged, and yet I am jealous of their foolishness, their ability to just forget everything in this game. Then there's the lovers, leaning and whispering to each other amidst that chaos, confident that their words would find their way to the mind of their significant other. I dream of being in his place, drinking in her words. What could she say to me? What would I answer? Would I tell her I love her? Maybe I wouldn't say a word. Maybe I would hit her. I could be her son. I could be the son of all women. Oh, it was covered with scribbling. Yeah, I think part of that is because this character is kind of a blank slate in terms of their interaction with the world. They don't really have a place here, at least none that's been revealed yet, but there's not much indication of a personality besides the fact that they were drinking and their very basic views of the world around them. Yeah, I think with the design, they were definitely aping the classic detective look, but that's not quite the way he talks. Anyway, for too many of us, the political equality we once had won was meaningless in the face of economic inequality. A small group had concentrated into their own hands and almost complete control of other people's property, other people's money, other people's labor, other people's lives. For too many of us, life was no longer free, liberty no longer real. Men can no longer follow the pursuit of happiness. Against economic tyranny such as this, the American citizen could appeal only to the organized power of government. The collapse of 1929 showed up the despotism for what it was. The election of 1932 was the people's mandate to end it. Under that mandate, it is being ended. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, June 27, 1936. So yeah, they're definitely making a lot of the setting of the aftermath of the Great Depression. Actually, I forget exactly when it ended. I want to say it was like 39. But yeah, it's touching broadly on the... a lot of reading to do. I apologize. Sort of losing my train of thought here. Anyway, William's Diary, Excerpt 12. Of all the bars I visited, the Smoke and Mirrors appears to have been especially tailored for me. People there are quiet, melancholic even. They stagnate in the swirling smoke of their cigarettes, like convicts, desperate victims that were pushed to the darkness by the crisis. But even if the bar is an elegant place, they are not driven away. They respect their right to oblivion. It is a place where they can disappear. I found myself a corner from which I can watch their comings and goings, until I am carried to the abyss by my own whiskey. Every time, I am caught again by the band. Such good musicians. Their music is like a tear that time stretches. I can't tell if that's tear or tear. A slow jazz, steady and reserved. It is the music of their time, the music of those who fell on the wayside. Someone told me about a singer who just got hired. Well, I don't think the band needs that, but we will see. Yeah, like I said, you're seeing some... Oh, shit.
This
Okay.
thing looked like it was reaching out from some fairy tale. The kind of stories in which kids get devoured by some witch in a dark forest.
Dearest William, you wanted to know more about me. Last time I didn't tell you everything. This letter will make up for this. When I arrive in California in 1930, I am only 18. This is a marvelous place, and the weather is so nice. I spend hours on the beach, astonished to see how brown my Norwegian skin can become. In the evening, I hang near the jazz clubs. In the afternoon, I watch people play on the beach, humming the tunes I heard the night before. Sometimes I try to sing louder than the waves. That's a good exercise. My English is quickly improving thanks to the American songs I already knew in Oslo. At the time, I am barely aware of the social misery that is devouring your country. I am young, I want to be beautiful, to meet people my age and to sing. In Los Angeles, at the Spice Club, I meet the members of a jazz band. They're talented and funny. We play all night. I forget about the hour and about my parents. They even call the police. At the end of the night, the musicians tell me they're looking for the musicians tells me, yeah, like I said, this could use another editorial pass. Tells me they're looking for a singer and that they want me. I can hardly believe it. Have you ever felt that you finally belong somewhere? It feels fantastic.
Was it real? Delusion or not, I tried not to think about it.
Hey,
Only a madman can think mad things.
there's our ghost waifu. Or possibly William's ghost waifu. It is not yet clear. Alright. Now, the good news is the stash is matchsticks are pretty generous, and you only pick up what you need to fill up, so you can always return to a spot you haven't exhausted yet to get more. Now, so we need a key to get that open. Now, it's going to be somewhere in the dark. But yeah, like I was saying, the setting this in the 1930s and making constant references to the Depression, people losing their jobs, the political and economic instability of the times, it's paralleled with the story of this very peculiar family, of a man and his very controlling mother, and the possible occult dealings that they are involved in. It's already been a year since Sarah died of pneumonia, a few months after Winterstone became disabled following his heart attack. They were my only friends. Today the house is empty, like every day, filled only with my own echoes and these things I don't want to hear anymore. I miss Father so much. I still see him, playing by my side. Okay, it's actually getting a little loud there. I turned the volume way down, too. I still see him, playing by my side. I see him put his hands on the piano keys, humming as he was playing music. I think about leaving, but then I wonder, what would that change anyway? Night is everywhere. She would find me. First, I have to make my big plan come true, and learn how to live again. I listened to Jack Hilton's Wonderful You. I realize I've never had anyone to play with. This is what I need. Some company, a companion. The city is so close. I guess it is time to leave. They have electricity and light there. It is possible to exhaust them if you're not careful. I don't know if there's some kind of backstop. I never actually had to. There's no actual difficulty setting or anything. Like I said, it's pretty basic in terms of the mechanics. Look broken and dangerous. Alright, so no turning the lights on here. There may be something we could light, however. A log. A good start if I wanted to start a fire. Here we go. Perfect. See, this is a bit silly. There's clearly firewood in the fireplace. My guess is you have to find a set amount in order to get a fire that'll burn for a while. If a match was a nuisance, I could put it out by pressing return repeatedly. Got it. I needed 2 hands for that. Alright, so basically we'll need to, since we can't do anything in the dark, we'll have to start a fire in the fireplace, and then extinguish the match and open the chest. Menu for the dinner seem to be a good 20 years late. Note to self, kitchen key. For the lack of sleep erodes your sanity as well as your memory, I hereby decide to put the kitchen key in this book of recipes Father loved so much. It is in the library. It won't move from there, which will prevent you from having to make extra keys again. Please start by trying not to lose this note. Your devoted servant, yourself, William. Yeah. So William was not altogether mentally speaking. He's clearly having issues with darkness, and to the point where he's actually afraid of it and kind of clings to every light source he can. There's another one. Is that enough? Let's find out. And so I think that's actually part of the justification for why that there's matches all over the place. And you'll notice the matchbook icon says Smoke and Mirrors, which is the club that he goes to. Still more wood for the fireplace. Alright, let's do it. Alright, there we go. I don't know that's breaking things open, it's more just lifting it. Alright. Touching that disc was warm and comforting. I felt an urge to listen to it. Alright, what else we got? Lipstick, crucifix, astronomy books. Such a treasure. In September 1934, during a concert at the Red Bait, we meet Jim Erziger, a producer whose label, Two Roads, is becoming prominent. After the show, he tells me I have a marvelous voice, and that my Norwegian accent brings something unique to our African-American jazz music. that it is enough to get the attention of amateurs and curious listeners. I have to admit, Norwegian jazz singers are not that many, but I can't really believe he would hire us. But he does. He suggests we name the band Selena and the Frozen Suns. I am to be paid for singing. Everything looks so simple. Dad used to say that anything can grow in California. I feel like a flower finding its way through the snow. But my parents are not happy for me. I think they are homesick. But at 22, life is an adventure. I don't know much about life. I know nothing of pain, for example. Everything changes. Interesting. Anything else in here? Doesn't look like it. Alright, let's bring this over to the record player. Which I believe was somewhere hereabouts. I think it was in the previous room. There we go.
It takes eternity to decide what'll be the best sign to fall back on, but he won't tell now. No, he won't tell now.
It was her. That girl from the jazz record. Selena Sandvik. The key she left me was an invitation. Was she trying to help me? Or was I heading towards even more troubles?
Sadly, there is no kitty in this game. So it will not be as...
I had to focus. Surviving is a full-time job. Not the kind of job you can afford to lose.
Yeah, sadly, there is no kitty in this game, so... It does not have that up on in sound mind, unfortunately. Alright. Now, if I recall right, as soon as we get this key, we're going to get chased by something. I believe that's the library key, so let's head back. Maybe not yet. Actually, did I read this already? William won't like it, but so be it. Yes, only the power to change things has to be earned. I'm still his mother. Okay, yeah. So, more of William's mother being controlling and kind of creepy. These economic royalists complain. Alright, so more FDR speech. Yeah, honestly, that would be a welcome distraction. Just if you had a cat moving around in the shadows, and every now and then you just saw its eyes. And until you shed some light on it, you didn't even know it was a cat. It's there to be creepy, but also can be a source of comfort once you find it. Alright, let's sit here and we'll save. And honestly, there is kind of an inherent unease at eyes that glow in the darkness, even in cases where it wouldn't really make much sense. Like, there's one particular use of it that has always stuck with me. That's in the old PC adventure game, well, relatively old PC adventure game, Legend of Carandia. And you go through this sequence in caves where you have to drag a light source from a thing that provides it. It's basically a bush that produces light berries. And if you venture too far without lighting the path, if you venture into the dark, you die instantly. And you don't actually see what happens, but a whole bunch of eyes light up in the darkness and just converge on the player's location. It was very creepy. Like, it got under my skin when I first played it. I probably would have been like 12. And that image has stayed with me. Anyway, so yeah, now we're starting to see that William had actually started to see the ghosts himself. Tonight, one of Mother's shadows caught me as I was walking inside the library. That same day, I had someone fix the electrical wiring, which had been out of service for years. In panic, I switched on the light. The shadow vanished in a scream. Electric light kills them. So yeah, William was seeing the same thing we are, that the ghosts, and they do appear to be Margaret Vesper, are prowling the house, and he was using light to dispel them. Yeah, Carandia would be interesting. I remember liking it at the time, but I'm always curious how well those old adventure games hold up, because a lot of them depends on how quickly you can figure out the puzzle, and you kind of need, for some of them, you kind of need patience to work at the weird logic that the game often incorporates. Oh yeah, yeah. The lurking grue is the classic instance of it, and that's something that always kind of stuck with me too. All right. Blah blah blah. Capitalism sucks. I'm just trying to see if this relates to our protagonist. Like I said, the economic inequality of the 1930s, staggering by any time period, forms. Oh shit. Okay. No, we gotta move. Fuck. Hell of a time to. Alright, easy does it. Right. So, one notable point of interest. Your match does not dispel ghosts. It's not strong enough. So they will chase you even if you're lit up. And they'll be haunting fixed locations as well as occasionally roving around in the darkness. So part of the puzzle to proceed is shining light on locations to push them back. Got stuck in the second era? Yeah. Like I said, it can be tough to go back to old adventure games and realize just how annoying the inherent logic is. Like the weird items you have to collect and the many ways you can screw yourself out of being able to progress. Madman, lunatic, loser. She just loves insulting me. I couldn't sleep for 3 nights. That darkness is suffocating. Luna won't show up, despite my prayers, even if I played the piano for her so much that it hurt. My stock of candles is decreasing quickly. I tried to keep myself busy, checking the accounts of the company. My acquisitions in Europe have dug massive holes in the accounts. I only light 1 candle at a time, and the electrical wiring is so worn out that it trips every other time. And so I have to endure the confused sound of her insults, even with wax to shut my ears. Cursed mother, cursed daughters. Are they my sisters? To what extent is that evil anchored inside my body? So is your problem, not the solution we want, so it can work. Yeah, that is obnoxious. If you come up with something that should work but doesn't because the crazy moon logic the developers have is the only way to solve it, that is annoying. So there's a switch somewhere in here that we have to turn on, but we have to be mindful of places the ghost could be. So yeah, we're starting to see more geometric symbols. These shapes give me a headache. Weird references to the arcane that may or may not be based on any kind of real-world iconography. She's suing me. Her voice is harassing me, blaming me and insulting me because I was not the heir she wanted so much. Margaret is even more harmful in death, and because I am her son, she has always possessed the keys to my mind. I am desperate. How am I supposed to keep a dead person at bay? Sure. Let me see if I can get some lights on. There we go. Almost disturbing. The knife had the role to play in that tragedy. It clearly wasn't just art. It clearly wasn't art. Just the fantasy of a murderer. What am I looking for here? Odd. That will be some kind of puzzle clue. These gas portraits are not my favorite decoration. I tried to. There wasn't actually anything to grab from it. The mother of men. My mother. You allow me to be a man. These curtains. Should be a switch somewhere. Alright. Let me run back down this way and let's see if we can find anything. Oh, hey, here we go. Something sharp caused that split. I needed the same tool. Okay, now I think it'll let me get the knife. These portraits of women. It was like a collection. A bit low on matches here. In alchemy, the second of 4 cycles leading to the incarnation of the mind in the great work, the Philosopher's Stone, is called white work, albedo, leucosis. During this phase, the alchemist cleans the matter he's been dissolving and charring for years in a renewed cycle with water. In a renewed cycle with water he has distilled 3 times. This is the time of the moon and the purification of matter by femininity. The water the alchemists obtain is called alkahest, the universal solvent, the elixir of longevity that puts an end to the little work. Despite my research, I have not been able to acquire a genuine alkahest. This could be the ultimate cure, the elixir that would save my life. I don't give a damn about eternity, I just want peace. I have bought some materials. Tonight, I will begin my journey towards the great work. I hope to reach the albedo, but this path is very long and very dark. Yeah, I typoed it. Yeah, that makes sense. Huh. Okay, so I can't grab that knife. I think I need to find another one and stick it in there. Philosopher. Actually, the pronunciation, or the punctuation of it. Okay, debts are getting worse and worse. Okay, this is back in 1895 when William's father, I believe Henry, is still alive. Oh, this is Margaret's diary. Okay. So yeah, she had some daddy issues herself, and she started to push them onto her son. There we go. Yes! Let's plug in the light. Oh shit. You got it. Let me get the light on here real quick. There we go. Alright. It's got something to do with those pictures. Alright, something sharp caused that split. And so yeah, getting the sensation that William had, let's call them issues with women. Basically, the complex that was... Oh. Basically, he took the frustration that his mother gave him and appears to be taking it out on various women, who appear to all be... Unclear if they're actually all jazz musicians or what, but there's something connecting them. But yeah, it's strongly implied that William started going down a path of madness and eventually became, Oop, let's light up here. Alright, let's take a look. Alright. Eventually became a killer himself. Although I don't know if it's, I don't know if Margaret has ever confirmed to have killed anybody, but it's strongly implied that there's some very dark things happening behind the scenes with her. So it automatically passes out of the little cutscene here. So I'll keep pushing it and let me know when you get an idea what it says, or what it's about. The 7 elements. Messed up and not quite right Philosopher's Stone. Somebody did the research, but it's not very deep. Okay, yeah. That's kind of the impression I get. That a lot of this stuff is superficially... Oh, hang on a second. Here we go. There's a knife. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is super... Hey, there we go. Fuck you, ghost. Landlord had crates of books delivered to him. Recipes from France and French islands. Tahitian raw fish. Oh, right, there's going to be a key hidden in here somewhere. Go for it. But yeah, thanks for looking at it. That's actually kind of interesting. I was wondering how much of it was a reference to real concepts. Alright, running a little low on matches here. Is there any around? Alright, we got the kitchen key at least. Alright. There we go. Oh, that's good coffee. Right about the hour mark, I'll go for maybe another 10 more minutes. Like I said, there's not actually a lot to this game, but I do really like the presentation of it. The style and mood. It's very minimalist in its horror and in its mechanics. It's entirely focused on the unfolding narrative and the atmosphere of a haunted house. Be careful here. And the question of whether you are dealing with overt supernatural elements or... Fuck! Alright. You gotta move, buddy. Go! Keep moving, keep moving. Shit! Ah, she got me. Haha! There you go, Kirby. Ah, shit. So yeah, if the ghost catches you, it's a one-hit kill. Oh, fuck. What might happen is if you start up a save from a point where you're basically out of matches, they might actually spawn some near the save point. But yeah, the ghosts are a one-hit kill, and the only way to chase them off is with a solid light source. So when you're not solving puzzles, you're having to dodge ghosts. And sometimes there'll be like scripted chase sequences where you have to quickly get to where you're going. Ah, fuck. Okay, yeah. Right, I think we'll need to find a use for this dagger before we go into the kitchen. We'll probably need to set up a light source to chase her away. Alright, let's see here. Let's try sticking the knife here. Had to use both hands. Knife was in the way, right. Oh, come on, dude. It's a knife. Alright. Something tells me we'll need to do this for each picture. Alright. Which means we'll have to find more knives, which means we probably got to go to the kitchen. Oh, hell. God damn it. Fuck you, Margaret. Alright. I guess we'll have to, hustle our way to the kitchen. Fortunately, you don't need the lights on to grab matchbooks. But you can find yourself stumbling around in the dark. Like, sometimes you'll... Like, if there's a light source in the room, you'll see some stuff outlined. Like, you can see here, you can actually see some of the furniture in the dining room. Or what appears to be a living room or something. But when you go in, those outlines are not visible. So it depends entirely on whether there's a light source in the room currently. So let's look around and see if we can... Oh, shit. Alright, no, we're moving. Hustle, brother. Pump those legs. Alright, I think that's it. I think I just had to lure her away and then I can get in. Alright, let's look around. Alright, Excerpt 21, William's Diary. Curse that Volstead Act. It's been a week since Winterstone last got me some bourbon. Ever since the police... Again, we have kind of a loud musical sting there. Ever since police seized the Beckford distillery, the whole city is dry. So this is during Prohibition. I will need to smuggle alcohol on the next cargo ship leaving for Menang. That Asian alcohol is burning my bowels, but I have no other choice. It will take weeks. These damn corrupted cops can sleep without a worry. No one is coming out of the dark to attack them at night. Such a stupid and hypocritical paternalism. What's left for the poor? Before taking care of my health, you should wonder if it'll make me feel better. I should go out, try to find new contacts. But the shadows will chase me. Outside, when I'm driving especially, who knows what could happen. Damn it. Now there's a big stack of matches right there. Like I said, it's actually kind of hard to totally exhaust them once you know where the major stacks are. Oh, come on, man. It can't be stuck in there that deep. Alright, we'll have to light this up. There we go. Kitchen was probably a lively place years ago. Alright, fridge is still getting power at least. Alright, hang on a second. I'm going to take a look at this thing Ivory linked. Quick little detail here. It actually makes piano noises when you're... Piano notes, I should say, when you're scrolling over the menu options. That's kind of cute. So the making of the stone is called a magnum opus, the great work. It comes in 3 or 4 stages, each more difficult than the last. They are in essence a test of the alchemist's prowess. Okay, interesting. So yeah. So it sounds like William was trying to perform this great work, which is essentially to the goal of it is either the goal is to exercise his mother, or it's a component in what he's working on. I placed matchboxes all around the house in case the electrical wiring breaks down. It really is the last thing I wish would happen. So yeah, this is why we're finding matchbooks everywhere. Because he was absolutely petrified of the dark because his mother's spirit was lurking in there. Anyway, let's get that knife. Interesting. Actually, yeah, that reminds me, they use those same alchemical ingredient names for The Witcher whenever you'd make your potions and such. Oh. Piece of meat could have come from anything, or anyone. Alright. Can I go across through here? Oh, damn. Door's boarded up. Right, so we're not going that way. Alright, let's switch the lights to the corridor outside. We'll probably need something to break through that door. We'll do that later. Actually, we'll probably get back to the library, put this dagger in the painting, and then we'll we'll save up and call it there. But might as well load up on matches while we're here. Alright. I know you're in here somewhere, Margaret. Shit, there she is. Alright, hustle, brother. Yeah, I know what you mean. Oh, fuck you. Alright. There we go. Okay. Margaret's playing mean. Alright. Might as well save over here. Alright, so it's going to be something we use for a key. Okay, now we read that already. Scribbling. All good. And yeah, it's kind of a nice little detail. Like I said, I really like the presentation of this game. The underlying mystery of it. How we don't really know what this guy's deal is. And we're here late to some kind of combination of familial drama, economic instability, and occult mystery. Oh, fuck. Go to the light, brother. Fuck. Okay. There's gotta be something around here we use for a key. Knife. Where's that door? There we go. Shit. Okay, we're good. Yeah, good question. Like we were saying, it's possible that they're using the concept kind of superficially, and the main focus is on William's deteriorating mental state. It's also possible that he himself simply doesn't know what he's doing. And all this is kind of desperation, trying to invoke the knowledge his mother passed down to use against her, but not fully understanding it himself. I doubt they went that, it'd be a little meta, though. I don't know if that's what they were going for here. Given the typos, I think it's reasonable to assume they're... Oh, fuck. Yeah, I think it's reasonable to assume that they're just using the names like most fictional authors using the names. Oh, shit. Okay, I think something got angry in here. But I don't want to bang on a game too much for... Oh. Sorry, losing my train of thought here. Alright, gotta drop the match. Nope. Damn it! Ah. There we go, okay. Do it, don't think, said the voice in my head. Stick it. Right. You should always listen to voices in your head when they tell you to stab paintings. Alright. So a book opened up. Actually, hold on a second. Let's, fuck. Yeah, I'm starting to slip a little. I'm forgetting which button is interact and which button is strike the match. Oh, damn. Alright, so something did come through here and destroy stuff. Broke the light, too. Eesh. This is true. If you're taking your aggression out on a painting, that is slightly better than taking it out on a person, although not necessarily healthy. Hey, secret passage. You should always go into secret passages you find in the library. Alright, let's see if we can find a spot to save in here. We're in some kind of office. Oh shit. Dude, you gotta run. I mean, yes, ideally you would go... Ideally you would not do this if you knew for a fact you were in a haunted house. As I came home from the smoke and mirrors, her voice kept clinging to my soul. That girl is fantastic. She introduced herself under the name Selena. She had just arrived in town, it seems. Her voice holds a melancholy that sounds very familiar. She's like a moonbeam, skimming you like a cold wind from the north. In a few minutes, even the most intoxicated of the drunkards were sitting in front of the stage, some on their knees. They were crying. You can see she is young, but her voice isn't. It has the wisdom of many lives. She has rekindled the flame that faded a long time ago. My soul was cleansed by her song, as if the alchemist threw distilled water on the ashes of my unfinished work. It reminded me of an old friend, very close yet very far, except she never goes down to earth. Well, you know, when you're experimenting with things that aren't... When you're experimenting with substances and not exactly using proper scientific method, you find yourself taking crazy risks with substances you've just invented. Alright, I think there's a candle over there. Yep. There we go. Alright, I think I'll save it here and call it a night. I think you get the idea. So basically, yeah, the thrust of the game is navigating this darkened, creepy house, avoiding ghosts, solving puzzles, and uncovering the underlying mystery of who you are, why you're here, what happened between William and his mother, how are the jazz musicians involved, and gradually getting closer to the truth. But yeah, like I said, it's a really interesting game despite its fairly simple premise and presentation and fairly basic gameplay. Like I said, it's not something you play through a lot because there's a lot of hidden content, but it's a simple, ultimately fairly effectively told story and absolutely gorgeous presentation. Like, there's some really, really nice shots when you get some rooms that are lit up, and they prevent a strong contrast between the light and the darkness. And it's a recurring theme that between the protagonist and the ghostly woman he keeps chasing, that the light is not just... The light is actually protecting you, and the darkness is pursuing you. And overall, I think it presents that fairly well, in spite of the typos and occasional... In spite of the fact that it might use alchemical concepts somewhat liberally and not necessarily true to how they were supposed to be used, the overall strength, the overall presentation is fairly solid, and I quite like what it's doing for the most part. Well, that's the thing, yeah. My tenuous understanding of historical alchemy is that a lot of it was flying by the seat of its pants, and some of it was based on somewhat sound principles, or at least like some degree of scientific approach, but a lot of it was not necessarily knowing what they were doing. Because yeah, obviously alchemy doesn't work at all like it does in fiction, but it's an example of science and mysticism that comes up often in fiction because of the implications. And yeah, it's mostly used as set dressing here, but it sounds like they'd had some idea of what they were doing when they integrated it into the plot. But yeah, it's a really, really neat game. It looks great. Their story has hit some personal notes. It uses the backdrop of 1930s America rather effectively to contrast the very real political and economic hardships with the elements of supernatural that William and the protagonist are dealing with. and it constantly makes you question to the very end how much of this is real, which I think is an essential part of classic horror, where it's not about some guy there with an axe or someone violently chopping up or killing people. It's about the threat of the unknown, and this game has a lot of unknown to prey on you as you proceed. But yeah, I like it a lot, and thanks for coming, everybody. I really enjoyed showing it off. Thanks, Ivory, for the quick breakdown on alchemical principles. It actually makes the game seem a lot more interesting than I previously understood. I kind of thought, like I said, it was all made up, but the idea that they're actually referencing some degree of alchemical concepts makes it a little more interesting. But yeah, the black and white graphics make for a really stark and memorable presentation, and I really like what they're doing with it. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Next week we'll be back to In Sound Mind. Not sure what I'll be playing for Sunday, but I'll update the channel as soon as I've got. I got a couple things I got my eye on, but I just need to pick between them. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. Have a good night, and I'll see you next time.